All right, let's do it. Thursday edition of the Cash In Sports Map Radio, the Sports Map Radio app. Don't forget the Cash In podcast as well. If you can't watch the whole show or listen to the whole show, there's a podcast. It's really cool. I invite you to check it out. It's the Cash In podcast. I'm not sure it's on every podcasting platform. Brian, we got to check in on that. I got to talk to the digital folks because I don't know if it's everywhere it should be. And I want people to just, no matter where, it should be. It absolutely should be. You should be on the moon. You should be on the space station and be able to get the Cash In podcast. But I don't know. I agree. It should be heard by more people than Elvis. See, Brian's on point tonight. So we got a lot to get to over the next 3 hours. We're keeping tabs on this Thursday night football game that's about as exciting as emptying. Oh my God, it's about as exciting as emptying a colostomy bag. Like this is. Yes, it's even worse. Don't spoil my opening segment. My God. Did you? I just sent you the rundown. Oh my God, it's so bad. Listen, if the folks at the NFL and Prime Video, they got you. Oh, they hoodwinked you. They got you in all excited. Opening week, Chiefs, Chargers, sign me up, or Bills, whatever it was. The Bills, and oh my God, everybody was all excited. Gonna be great. Thursday night football, great matchups. Man, NFL's gonna really give it to us on Thursday nights. Then you get Indianapolis and Denver. Next week you get Washington and Chicago. Oh, we'll come back and talk about this game, though, I promise. It's more of the Cash In on Sports Map Radio. It's so true. It's so funny. It was like, was he looking at my rundown and just repeating it back to me? It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Oh, God, so bad. They got you, man. They got your money. They got your money. They're like, they got you. They got everything. It's awesome. I gotta get Vlad on Skype. Oh. Yo. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are we on?
We're in a break.
Oh. We're on a stream? Shut the stream off. I need a favor from you.
Man alive. I mean, could the NFL do any worse than this on a Thursday night? Oh, wait, next week. Nothing like a 6-6 game early third quarter. Colts and the Broncos. Sign me up. Oh, my God. Like I said in the first segment, man. I'd rather be emptying a colostomy bag than watching this game right now. It's that kind of bad. I mean, this is just, you've got to do better if you're the NFL. And I get it. Before the season, who knew the Broncos offense would be this bad, and the Colts, who many people thought would win the AFC South, would be this bad, and that Matt Ryan would have 10 fumbles through the first 5 games of the season now, and this game isn't even over yet, which is among the worst 5-game starts ever for a quarterback handling the football. But next week, I got to take him to task for next week. Because next week, they're giving you Washington and Chicago. They're making you pay for Amazon Prime, which you don't even want because you don't order enough things off Amazon Prime to justify whatever. What's it, $189 a year? $200 a year? How much does it cost? Brian, do you have Amazon Prime? How much is Amazon Prime? Okay. So wait, you have it and you don't even know how much you're paying for it? All right, producer Brian is useless on this one. Executive producer Vladimir Lewis on. What's the answer?
It's $8.99 a month, so it's $9 a month. You're probably paying $108 a year, $119.
And you're getting, and for that, ladies and gentlemen, you get Washington and Chicago on a Thursday night.
Jason,
that's just awful.
Every team gets a primetime game, and it's usually Thursday nights. And second, it's 2 big markets. And third is the NFL. People are going to watch.
I guarantee you that game, the ratings for that game are going to be hot garbage.
Maybe, and maybe not.
By NFL. And again, I say that by NFL standards, it'll probably do more than whatever playoff baseball game is on. That's the funniest part of all. Then the next week, you get Saints Cardinals.
You get Kyler.
Yeah.
Listen, you're gonna watch anyway, so stop. You can be upset.
I'm gonna watch because it's my job.
Not exciting. It may not be exciting, but guess what? It's not every day that not everybody brings their A game all the time.
Week 8, Ravens. It's just different. The idea, but hold on. The idea is different, and I think this is one where I think it's fair to critique it. The idea that everybody has to get a primetime game is fine, but when you're telling people you got to pay to watch this game on Thursday night, I think as a league you have an obligation either A, to have more flexibility with what you're putting on in that spot. And I don't know if there's flex games on this we get later into the season. Flexibility. That's even worse.
How are you going to have flex games in 4 days?
It's true because it's Thursday. Because it's a You're exactly right. Because it's a Thursday. That is what creates the issue because of the fact that it is a Thursday game to begin with. Week 8 is the Ravens and Buccaneers.
That's a great game.
That's a good game. I agree. It's a great game. Week 9 is Eagles-Texans.
Texans got to get a listen. Texans got to get a game, and the Eagles travel well.
Almighty. Falcons-Panthers is Week 10.
Division rival.
Oh God! Look. You could rationalize anyway. They're not good games. These are not good games.
Okay, listen. Okay.
Some of them, and now obviously a few of them are. Titans. Hold on. Week 11, Titans-Packers. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. The Titans will still be competitive. The Week 12 Bills-Lions, that game actually is better now than it was when the season started.
That's a high-scoring game.
That's what I mean. That game it's better than when the season started.
The total should be 61.
Actually, no, I take it back. Hold on a second. That's November 24th. Never mind. I got that wrong. November 24th is Thanksgiving. So those are the Thanksgiving games.
Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, so you get Bills-Lions, Yeah, the Lions are always at home on Thanksgiving. Then you get Giants, Cowboys, and then Patriots, Vikings. It's not terrible.
No, that's a terrible Thursday.
I don't know. We don't know how good Bailey's app's going to be. Now I'm the one defending these games. Week 13.
Cousins.
Week 13. Bills, Patriots.
That might not be good.
That says December. Yeah. Okay. So that's correct. That's the Thursday night game. Bills, Patriots, Week 13.
That might be a blowout.
December 8. Week 14. Raiders, Rams. That'll be a good game.
Okay.
Week 15, 49ers, Seahawks, division rival.
And week 16 is the battle of the 2021 number 1, number 2. I already know. Don't worry about
it. Jaguars, Jets, week 16. Week 17, Cowboys, Titans.
And that's the last game.
Yeah, and that's it.
Okay, let's put it this way. Jeff Bezos and the boys did not get a good schedule in their first year.
I mean, half of the games, I'd say.
No, they got the teams, but what they did was they got teams and notable players going against the crappy teams of the league. Like Philadelphia, that's a great story. You know people are going to watch Philly, but they're not going to watch Houston. Nobody wants to watch Houston, Texas.
No.
Sorry, Houston. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Houston. I don't think they're offended. Brian McDonald is our engineer. Thank you. Engineer producer Brian says he's not offended. So
okay, good.
It's official. They're not offended.
As long as Brian said he's not offended, then
just don't talk about any wrestling spoilers during the show. Otherwise, he will be
Thursday.
devastated.
There's nothing to spoil.
Yeah, no, don't. I mean, even if you see news, nothing. You can't talk about it. Otherwise, Brian will get upset.
Bray Wyatt's the right weapon.
Yeah.
But so. Jeff Bezos and Amazon didn't get a good deal, but that's what you're gonna get in the first year out. They're gonna make some adjustments. You don't know what the season's gonna be. So,
all right, can we just say this?
Maybe. I think you might be right though. I know it's hard to flex, but they might want to flex towards week 10.
But you really
of the season.
But you really can't, because here's the reason you can't too: the travel. You know, you got fans traveling and stuff like that. You know how many fans. We were just talking about it in between during the break about, certain ones of us wanted to go to NFL games and things like that. If you've already booked flights, booked travel, hotels, most people aren't like us and book things at the very last second. They book it well in advance. You can't do that. You can't do it. So Thursday night is just kind of one of those things where you just got to hope before the season you get it right. But my God, let's just say this now. And look, it's week 5. I'm done with the Broncos. I'm done. This team's just not that good. I mean, they're good defensively. And last night on the show, I was talking about teams with Super Bowl caliber defenses. The Broncos might actually be one of those teams with a Super Bowl caliber defense, but they cannot do enough offensively to convince me at this point that they are to be taken seriously beyond anything more than maybe a 9-8 sort of team that maybe gets a wild card, and maybe you'll want to take a flyer on him because Russell Wilson's the quarterback, and you'll be convinced that he could have a couple of big games in the postseason because of his past performance in postseasons. But here's the reality. That team's not going anywhere. Not this year. Not as I've seen through 4.5 weeks. They're just not. They're not going anywhere. And the Matt Ryan experiment, the Matt Ryan experience, change of scenery, new head coach. And I know they don't have Jonathan Taylor. I know the Jonathan Taylor injury is and he struggled in the weeks where he was in there. But I'm neither of these teams right now. I don't really have anything positive to say about either of these two teams with what I've seen, not just tonight, but through the first 4.5 weeks of the season. It's gonna be a long year. Bronco fans, I mean, you think about this. Bronco fans were so excited about Russell Wilson coming. And now here they are. They get the first win of the season for the Raiders was at the Broncos' expense. Maybe they'll win tonight. Maybe they won't. They had that gut-wrenching 11-10 win over the 49ers, which if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't step out of the back of the end zone, who knows what happens. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry. Denver's just not that good a football team. They're just not that good. They lost Jamal Williams. I mean, this is a team that's really not going anywhere this year. They're just not. I mean, and it's okay. You could have a Super Bowl caliber defense, and I talked about it last night on the show, and I'll say it again. The two teams that I am most fascinated by, you can get all excited about what the Bills do and the Chiefs do and what the Eagles are doing, and certainly a lot of people are jumping on that bandwagon. I will say it again. San Francisco and Dallas, 2 Super Bowl caliber defenses, and I think they can get just enough offensively. If you can get Jimmy Garoppolo to just limit the mistakes, he doesn't have to be great. You just need, and I mean, we're talking about a guy that was 1 throw away from winning a Super Bowl. He was 1 game away from going to another. I mean, you have to on some level acknowledge he's good enough to get you there. And this defense is good enough to win. And for Dallas, I look at what the I look at what the Cowboys have done through the first 4 weeks. I'm sold on them defensively. I don't know what's going to happen when Dak Prescott comes back and whether or not they sort of tweak what they're doing offensively and tone it down and just try to play a little bit more conservatively, knowing that defense is so good. But by week 17, is that defense burned out? By the time you get to the postseason, can you ask that much of your defense? Or are you going to have to get more out of the offense? It's going to be fascinating to watch, but I'll tell you, I'm done with these 2 teams. Finished. I got no love for either of these teams. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You can tweet at the show at The Back Page. Hit me up on Twitter at The Back Page. Let me know what you think of this Thursday night game if you've been subjected to it. I feel bad. Someone would have to like glue my eyelids open to force me to watch this game right now. It's that kind of bad. This is brutal. You know what? I hope it goes to overtime and finishes in a tie. Just subject America to as much of this absolute awful football as possible. This boring game.
Exciting.
Yeah, a couple of more field goals. Oh, Matt Ryan's angry. Oh, he's slamming helmets.
Watch 28 points be scored in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. But you never know. 800-224-2004. We continue in this opening hour of the Cash, and I got to get into a couple of quarterback notes, one with the Patriots and one with a former Patriot. That's next. Cash in, Sports Map Radio.
This is some god-awful football, bro. Did you see what's happened over the last 5 minutes? Hello? Have you seen what's happened over the last 5 minutes?
That's a good point.
There was a blocked field goal and now an interception by Matt Ryan.
Frank Reich may not make the season.
Oh, I said Frank Reich and Matt Rule won't make the season. Irsay might find these guys.
Oh, you got to lay out for that.
For what?
That throw that Russell just made to Jerry Jeudy. He pulled up at the end, and if he lays out, he probably catches this.
You're like 30 seconds.
Oh, you got him. Yeah, if he lays out, he's catching that. Come on, man.
Yeah, what down was that? Was that second down or third down?
It must have been third down because they're kicking the field goal now.
Yeah, must have been third down. Well, I mean, there's 2 throws that he threw. He threw one to the tight end. Tight end couldn't hold on to the ball. Ew, yeah,
9-6. Let's go 9-6, baby.
Yeah, all the.
Oh, yeah. 9-6, the under. The under all day.
Oh, I took the under too, buddy.
Oh, my God. Could have taken the under. You could have taken half of the under and probably been okay. God, so bad.
Here's a question: were the Sonics right? Where was what you call it right?
Who?
Pete.
Who?
Pete.
Pete?
Did Pete know something that we didn't know early, and he saw it before anybody else? He was trying to get rid of Russ 2 years ago.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, but you remember you pointed it out yourself though. His numbers when they wanted to get rid of him were still pretty good.
But sometimes Kirk Cousins' numbers are great too. But but when it's a
I
big game,
part
you're
of
not
it's
picking
this.
for a
I
guy.
think it's a combination of things. I don't think it's all Russell. I think some
I
of
don't think
it's
it's all
him. I
Russell
think some.
either.
I think some of it's him. I think some of it's the play calling, and some of it's the receiving core. I just think it's just a bad match.
So what you're saying is that a lot of people love this
Seattle got the
Denver-
better of the deal, though. I know that.
Denver wide receiver core. Everybody's loving this Broncos receiver core, and they haven't done anything.
No,
I'm still trying to
I
figure
love
out.
Jerry Jeudy, and I'm waiting for it. Where is it? Come back.
Russell's Alabama receivers.
If you want to win, you got to follow me on Twitter at the back page. You follow me on Twitter at the back page, and you can win. Simple as that. You follow me, send me a note every Wednesday. We give away cool stuff. Simple as that. You just got to follow me on Twitter at the back page. Bob Nightingale joins us in 12 minutes to talk about the MLB postseason. A couple other baseball notes I'm sure we'll get to with him. But the postseason starts tomorrow. 12 teams vying to be World Series champions. And I got to be honest, I will be glued to all 4 games tomorrow.
This one game I'm glued to.
I'll be glued to all of them because I think all of these matchups are so intriguing.
They are, but it's one game I'm intrigued only because of. You really want to know why?
Why?
Because it's being telecast in the afternoon. That ABC game, the Cardinals Phillies game, is bringing me back to my childhood when there used to be postseason afternoon baseball
On ABC.
on ABC.
Yeah.
Like they didn't care about soap operas. They were like, oh, there's a game. You know, a postseason game in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, one life to live, General Hospital, wait your
Gotta
turn.
go. You
gotta
go.
go.
Keith Jackson, and Tim McCarver coming on, baby.
Whoa,
Al Michaels,
Nelly. Yeah.
yeah. And there was some great afternoon baseball. Like you look forward to it as a kid. Like, oh my God,
Network.
postseason baseball.
Network, broadcast network, afternoon playoff baseball. That is pretty cool. That is taking me back to a place. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I am jazzed up for all these series. I can't wait. I wish I lived in a state where betting was legal because I think I've got opinions on all of them. We'll do that later though. Top of the next hour, we'll get into our baseball postseason wild card round predictions. We'll do all that stuff. Does not look good. I tell you, I mean, you want to talk about a critical point in the New England Patriots season. There's no doubt, I think, in anybody's mind that we've sort of reached that spot because the news out of Patriots camp doesn't look very good as it relates to the injury to Brian Hoyer. If Mac Jones doesn't play, it's going to be Bailey Zapp this week. And, with Hoyer on IR, this really doesn't look good for the Patriots at this point. And look, Bill Belichick has pulled some rabbits out of hats. Remember what he did with Matt Castle the year that Tom Brady got hurt. I mean, you can do some amazing things sometimes, but the division that they're in, and the fact that it's a guy named Bailey Zapp, and I know what he did against the Packers certainly inspired some people and gave them some hope that perhaps their third-string quarterback has something to offer. But you're 1-3. I mean, the Patriots season could basically go down the toilet here over the next couple of weeks. I mean, that'd be great. That's essentially what you're talking about when you look at where the Patriots are. And look, you know me. I give it a few weeks. I wait 3 or 4 weeks. But now we're starting to get into the heart of the season. We're past the quarter pole, basically, or right at the quarter pole. And you're talking about a Patriots team that's home for a Detroit Lions team that's going to put up points. I don't care what you think of New England at home. I mean, they've given up an average of basically 25 points a game over the first 4 games. You have to think that Detroit can can certainly put up that kind of number. And where's the scoring going to come from for New England? I haven't looked in the last 12 hours or 24 hours at the lines for this week, but I don't think there's a line that would ever make me take the Patriots this week. Right now, in matter of fact, I would jump all over the lines right now at 3. The Lions are getting 3.5 this weekend. And I think they could win by 10.
I agree with you. And I hate to agree with you, but I agree with you. But the only thing I will shoot New England this bail. I'll shoot them this amount of bail. It's Belichick. And he's done very well against Jared Goff in the past.
Yeah, he has.
That's the only thing. Belichick at home, he's going to devise a plan to keep the games close. But they don't have any weapons. When you were talking about Matt Cassell, that was the year after the nearly perfect season. They still had Randy Moss. They still had Wes Welker. They still had weapons offensively. Put it this way. Mac Jones is probably the most notable player I know out of New England. And that's weird if the second-year quarterback is like I know he's your franchise quarterback, but you should have other players, notable players, at least on the offensive side, other than Mac Jones. So now, if he doesn't play, who scares you in New England? I know they have a good running game. Who scares you? Who scares you offensively in New England? No one.
Absolutely nobody. The one guy that scares me has a high ankle sprain. I mean, that's it. I mean, if the only argument you could have made was if Mac Jones is on the field, you give him a bit of a shot. But with if Mac Jones ain't playing in that game, boy, they've got to be doing everything they can to have him potentially play in that game. And then Bailey Zapp will come up and light up the world, and the Patriots will win 31-28, and we'll be on here on... Well, but even in that case, the Lions would cover the 3.5. Just take the Lions plus 3.5, please. If you do anything. We might have to come up with a special, imaging piece for Paige's picks. The biggest lock of my 4 picks. It might be the Detroit Lions this weekend. I love them. I really do.
Nah, you know what, Paige? It's the Lions, man. Don't trust them.
I know. I get it.
A lot of people trusted them last week against Geno Smith and the Seahawks. How'd that turn out?
Absolutely. I cannot disagree with you. But I think, Patriots are just a mess. Good news. I actually have a positive Tom Brady story to share. Because it feels like everything coming out of the Buccaneers world right now is just a mess. I actually have good Tom Brady news to round out this segment with. Tom Brady's shoulder feels great, and he's going to play on Sunday. There you go. Said on Thursday with a smile. It feels great. I'll be there Sunday. I mean, look, you've got to find something positive if you're talking about this Buccaneers team right now. Because, I mean, there isn't that much to get excited about if you're a Buccaneers fan. And, I know we had Jason Cole on the show the other day, and he says he still believes in the Buccaneers. They can get it turned around. But sometimes it's just not there. And I'm just not. And I know everybody wants to. Nobody wants to bury Tom Brady. But it's kind of hard right now not to bury this team. And it's not a Brady thing either. I'm not even necessarily of the mindset that it's because of Brady.
I think they're an old team, Jason.
They are an aging team. I'm not crazy about the head coach who's never really won anywhere.
He had one good season.
Yeah.
With Ryan Fitzpatrick.
With Ryan Fitzpatrick, exactly.
2015 New York Jets.
Yes.
No, real quick. They're struggling now, but you know what? I've seen many teams struggle early and get their act together during the middle towards the late of the season when you want to get your act together, when you want to be, a well-oiled machine. So right now their struggles are early. They're still 2-2. If they beat Atlanta, they're 3-2. They still could have a winning record with their struggles and then get their act together.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see if they can. The schedule does help in that regard. We're back with Bob Nightingale next on the Cash In on Sports Map Radio. We'll talk baseball.
Bloom tomorrow?
I did that tap just so you could hear.
No, I got it. That's why I did. That's
so
why
you did. So you were able to hear when I just did that quick tap like that.
I heard something, and I also looked at the time. So
yeah,
I was like,
I did that just so you could hear that was the music. So
right.
if you ever hear that, just know that means we're in like the final 20 seconds.
Cool. Do you want baseball guy tomorrow?
Maybe. I reached out to Chris Haynes,
the basketball guy.
Yeah.
I
haven't heard back. I haven't heard back though.
I was trying to get Tom Tolbert, but then I was wondering maybe should I wait getting a big somebody from San Francisco if we're what you text me from earlier.
Yeah. Let me get Bob on. Hold on one second.
All right, talk to me. Top
All right, yeah. Let's do that. Is this people who are watching this game being driven to drug use? Bob Nightingale. Today. Let me know when I'm at a minute, if you can. Ooh, that was fun. Just showered my computer screen. All right. Am I talking to you? Don't I hear you? Hey, Bob, you hear me? There he is. Come on, Bob. Pick up the phone. Just give me as much time as you can here. I'm trying to get him on the line. Just give me as much time. Just keep me down. Damn it.
Automated voice messaging system.
Just bring me back up. Damn it. Continuing with this Thursday edition of the show. I mean, normally on Thursday night football nights, we get all crazy with the live lines, have some fun. It's just impossible tonight. I mean, this game is like off-white paint. There's just not much to give you. I mean, I get it. You might be betting on the game and wanting to bet on the game, but, I mean, here we are with Indianapolis trailing the Broncos 9-6 early fourth quarter. Indianapolis with the football. Can nobody win this game? I think that would be the best thing of all. How about a tie? How about like a 9-9? No, I'll go better. Colts get a field, 2 more field goals. Broncos get 1. We go to overtime 12-12. And then overtime, maybe a field goal each. We go 15-15. How's that? I'd sign up for that. I think this game deserves a 15-15 tie right now. That's about the only way this thing could end. But Oh my God! Did Russell Wilson just leave the field too? Did he just go into the? Did he just go into the medical tent? Oh, what happened here? Oh, he got hurt. Somebody else is hurt on the Colts. I mean, this game's a disaster. 3 plays in, you had a guy get a concussion in a week where all we've done is talk about concussions. And now you've got this. Russell Wilson's going to the tent. I mean, come on already. This is an unmitigated disaster. The Colts on the live line are plus 2.5. They're plus 120 on the money line. The Broncos are minus 154 on the money line. I mean, how about this? When was the last time you saw this for an NFL game during a live line? The total right now is 24.5. That's the total. The live betting total is 24.5. I can't remember the last time I've seen that. I don't know, maybe, you know what? Maybe it was the Sunday night game between the Broncos and Niners. Maybe at some point the live betting line was that low because of the fact that game finished 11-10. Maybe it wound up being that low. I mean, this is awful. My God. 9-6 Denver. We'll give you an update on Russell Wilson when we have one, but he left the field and it certainly didn't look good when somebody's going into the medical tent. I don't think it was concussion related. It looked like it was his arm or something that they were checking. But again, I have my back to the TV. I can only see it in reverse. So I can't really tell you what's going on. Bob Nightingale was supposed to join us in this segment. He didn't answer. So we're going to hope that maybe something happened and he wasn't able to get to his phone. Hopefully he's okay. We'll see if we can get him on maybe in a few minutes and get some thoughts from him on the Major League Baseball postseason, which gets underway tomorrow. I can't wait. I'm all pumped up. As I was saying to Vlad, we're ready to go for the baseball postseason. You got an afternoon game on ABC, something you never see. And I was going to do our wild card round predictions in the next hour, but seeing as Bob isn't here now, maybe we'll do those now, given the fact that we'll try and see if we can get him coming up maybe at the start of the next hour. But you got the Tampa Bay Rays plus 106 on the road in Cleveland to take on the Guardians and a Terry Francona managed team that, Terry Francona could very well wind up being the AL manager of the year with the job he's done with the Cleveland Guardians. But Tampa Bay's a good team, and they find ways to win in the postseason. But you got to play all 3 games in Cleveland, which automatically lends itself to the home team having the advantage because they're always going to get to bat last. And if you think about the postseason, if there's one thing we know about the baseball postseason, games are close. Games are always tight. And as much as we like to talk about home field advantage from the perspective of playing in your home park, I think what is particularly intriguing about these wild card playoff matchups is the fact that for all 3 games, the Cleveland Guardians, in a series where, games are going to be close late. Remember, there's no ghost runner in extra innings or anything like that. Cleveland will always have the last word when it comes to these games if they're close. And they've got one of the best closers on the planet, too. And I'm not convinced that Tampa Bay, has that magic that we've seen in years past. They're good. They were without Wander Franco for a long time this season, and he's such an important part of what they do. And yes, they have him back. But I don't think I'd bet this series. I don't think I would bet this series. But if I was forced to, I'd probably take Cleveland. Minus 124. If we're just talking about picking a series winner, I'm probably taking the Guardians at minus 124. I watched them play the Yankees this year, and they played the Yankees tough. I love Josh Naylor. They call him Bo Naylor now? I don't know. Used to be Josh Naylor. The other wild card series in the American League, Seattle and Toronto. Look, I am all over Seattle. They're, at least as of last night, they were plus 3,000 to win the World Series. They had the lowest odds to win the World Series. Oh, they don't anymore. That has changed. Update. Seattle is plus 3,000 still, but the lowest odds to win the World Series are, drum roll, Brian McDonald, producer engineer back in Houston. Can you guess who has the lowest odds to win the World Series now? No. San Diego. San Diego now has the lowest odds to win the World Series. They are at plus 3,500. Seattle is plus 3,000 alongside the Cleveland Guardians. And I love Seattle. I have said this from even before they got officially into the postseason. And the Mariners at plus 3,000. Luis Castillo, we've seen what he can do. I am all over the Mariners at plus 3,000. Not because I think they're going to win the World Series. My job is to tell you what I think is the best value proposition when it comes to these World Series teams. The Dodgers at plus 300, Houston at plus 380, You're not making huge amounts of money if you put a wager on those teams and they win the World Series. You'll make a few bucks, and that's fine. But the value in this postseason is in the Seattle Mariners. And look, they could take a dump in the first round. They could take a dump and lose to the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't know why I'm infatuated with using the term taking a dump, but they could. But Seattle at plus 3,000, if they get hot, young team, doesn't know they're not supposed to be in this position, that they're basically a year early to the party. Oh, I'll take Seattle plus 3,000 all day. So that's the one I told you last night I was really excited about. Seattle plus 134 for the 3-game wild card series in Toronto against the Blue Jays. I will take my chances and take Seattle plus 134. Let me go San Diego and the Mets. The Padres plus 164. The Mets minus 194. This is another series I would not touch. My gut tells me it's the Mets because 2 of the 3 games are going to be started by Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. But my gut also would tell me to take the Padres because the last time the Mets had a 3-game series with a team that was good and deGrom and Scherzer pitched, they got swept in Atlanta. And it cost them the NL East. And the Padres are a good team, and they're playing well going into the postseason. So maybe now, there's got to be some confidence issues for those guys being the Mets. I wouldn't touch it. I would not touch it. Phillies and Cardinals, it's probably the least intriguing of the 4 series. But again, you got Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright all potentially playing in their final postseasons, probably all going to retire together. And the Cardinals at minus 120 are the favorite. And I got to be honest with you, I would take the Cardinals. Philly limped into the postseason. They just got in by the skin of their teeth because Milwaukee had a bad couple of months, and the Phillies were able to hold them off. Phillies are not coming into the postseason playing their best baseball. How do you think Joe Girardi's feeling, by the way? Remember when he got fired like 20 games into the season? Now he's watching it. I'll take the I'll take the Cardinals minus 120 in that series. That's one I feel okay about. So the two series I like from a betting perspective, the Cardinals minus 120, the Mariners plus 134. The other two series I wouldn't put money on. Just my thoughts. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You can also tweet at the show at the back page if you want to, on Twitter at the back page. Thursday night football, by the way. Still 9-6. Oy vey. 9-6. Ugh. It's not getting any better, folks. It's not getting any better. If you were like, yeah, fireworks, if Vlad was joking around, fireworks in the fourth quarter. Nope. You want fireworks? Wait till the 4th of July. About 9:22 to go in the fourth quarter, and neither of these teams could score a touchdown. I can't wait to see what the final number is for this game, ratings-wise. I have to remember to go and find out, because this is just brutal. I'd rather talk about a fan suing the Patriots, saying they ruined the Tom Brady autographed flag that he loaned him. I'd rather that. And this is that kind of bad. But don't worry, we'll keep you up to date on what's going on. This game's destined to go to overtime. I'm telling you, it's that bad. They're going to subject us to more of this. The football gods are going to give us more of this. 800-224-2004. I'm Jason Page. It's the Cash In on Sports Map Radio. Yeah, he just did. Asked if he could push it back. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do them in that first 10-minute segment. I'll do them in that first 10-minute segment at 12. How's that? Because that's a soft out anyway. So we'll do that. Yeah. That's what we'll do. All right. Yeah, he texted me mid-segment. And then I thought about breaking early, taking him to the end of the hour, which I could have done, but it's all right. You make the call. Yeah. All right. So bad. All right, I promise Bob Nightingale in the next hour, about 15 minutes from now, we'll talk with the USA Today senior baseball writer. Hey, what are you doing right now? You're probably getting ready for your fantasy football weekend. You're looking at your lineups. You're trying to figure out who to play, who to start. I've got a new way for you to handle your fantasy weekends. It's called Jock Market. JockMKT.com. Go and download the app right now. Check it out. It's the new way. This is fascinating. I'm going to be trying it for the first time this weekend alongside all of you. I've watched the tutorials on it. Imagine if sports was like the stock market. And I always say, betting on sports, whether it's fantasy, whether it's gambling on games, it is a lot like the stock market. Well, Jock Market is exactly that. Jock MKT. It's fantastic. You go and you basically look at players, figure out who you like. You can invest as much or as little cash as you want. Your profit or loss is determined by the change in value of the shares you own. Think of it kind of like a poker cash game. It's a lot of fun. Go and check it out. JockMKT.com. You can learn all about it and then go and download the Jock MKT app and go and try it out. And here's the best part. All you got to do is use the promo code CASHIN, CASHIN, the Cash In promo code. Cash In is your promo code when you go and download the Jock MKT app. You get 100% deposit bonus. I mean, how cool is that? If you put $100 in, you're getting a $100 deposit bonus. You put $20 in, you're getting a $20 deposit bonus. Minimum deposit, $20. Go and check it out, jockmkt.com. Learn all about it, and then go download the Jock MKT app. It is so much fun. You have to go and try it out. jockmkt.com. Promo code CASHIN. Make real money every hour, every minute, every second of the game. Promo code CASHIN. We're back with another hour of the Cash In. Bob Nightingale will join us in the next hour. Lisa Horne will join us as well. And we'll keep you all up to date on Thursday Night Football on Sports Map Radio. Stay with us. Yo.
What happened with Nightingale?
Called him over and over, and he didn't answer. And then
Did you want to and stay competitive against Green Bay. Right now in the NFL, you can't say anybody can't win a game right now. You can't say a team can't win a game. And no lead safe. And no lead is safe in the NFL. Good team or bad team.
This game is destined for overtime.
No, it's not.
Gotta be.
No. Denver's moving the ball, bro.
Getting in position for another field goal?
They get in position for the first and 15. How many timeouts India has? They still got all three.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a long field goal coming in a minute.
Second down.
Wait, did you bet the game too, or just the total?
No, I got Denver -3, so so I don't care. They can get a field goal. I don't care about that. I just don't see this going as an overtime.
Yeah, so I just flip-flop segments. What I was going to do segment 1 of this hour, I just did it at the end of the last hour. So that's why I'm moving Nightingale to that. I did my MLB wildcard picks.
Okay. Well, you're introducing remember, it's a new market now.
What'd you say?
Dallas is coming in this hour.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't have anything particular.
Yesterday.
Oh, he's a great. I love talking to that guy. And he remembers me, so I always love guys that actually remember me.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy. That's why I wanted to get back that information to him, because I was like, wow, he actually got back.
Yeah, that, and I mean, I was under. Stand by. Another hour starts right now on the Sports Map Radio app. Sports Map Radio affiliates across the country. Good evening to our friends just tuning in the Big D in Dallas. Our new affiliate jumping on board this week, 97.1, The Freak. We're getting freaky with it. Man, I mean, there isn't anything worse than this Thursday night football game. There is no redeeming quality to this game. I'm looking for it. I'm trying. I'm trying to be the optimist. I'm watching it over my left shoulder. Players getting hurt. You had a guy get a concussion in the fourth play of the game. You had Russell Wilson going to the tent. Now he's back out on the field. It's 9-6. Nobody can score a touchdown. It's just the worst. Bob Nightingale will join us coming up in about 5 minutes. The USA Today national baseball writer. We'll get some thoughts with him on this baseball postseason. I gave you my picks at the end of the last hour, and in case you weren't listening or you weren't with us at that time, I like 2 of the series. There are 2 series I would not bet any money on. Tampa Bay and Cleveland, I would not put money on it. I don't feel confident in either team. Seattle and Toronto, I have to say Seattle because at plus 3,000 to win the World Series, I think they are the best value bet in this postseason. And they're plus 134 in Toronto to play the Blue Jays. I love the way Seattle's playing coming into this postseason. So I love Seattle. San Diego and the Mets, I would not touch it because I can make the argument that, hey, the Mets should win with DeGrom and Scherzer going 2 of the 3 games if it goes that far. And then I think back to the biggest weekend of the season for the Mets when the 2 of them lost in Atlanta. So I'm just not there. And then the Cardinals and the Phillies, I love the Cardinals. So those are the two series I like are the Cardinals and the Mariners. Bob Nightingale will get his thoughts on the baseball postseason in a moment. Also, this historic season for Aaron Judge, managerial openings, and more as we continue on this Thursday edition of The Cash In. It's Sports Map Radio. Stay with us. I have to say, I wasn't a fan of the 3-minute segments to end the hour and start the hour, but I've kind of gotten used to them now, and I like them. I'm kind of cool with the clock now.
That's because you're an old man. And as you get older, you're so used to something that you don't want to try something new until you're like, you know what, I like it.
Yeah, it was just weird. It's different, but I like it. First of all, it makes me have to be quick, which is not my forte. And I don't know if it's anybody's forte in the sports radio sort of format because you're not supposed to be quick. But I kind of like those quick segments where you just get it in, get it out.
Well, it's not the old times, man. New times.
Hold on one second. What'd you say? Okay. Good idea. They might call. Are they going to call me to get buzzed in? Huh? I can't. I got an interview to do. Okay. We've got a grocery delivery coming to the condo. So we're sitting here going, is the doorbell going to ring in the middle of a segment? And when it does, is my dog going to go absolutely nuts?
Absolutely.
Well, Broncos looking to put this game away.
Oh, wait, you calling Nightingale now, right?
What'd you say? Oh, shit. Why am I calling him? Yeah, I got to call him. Good call with that. Sitting here watching the game.
Hello?
What's up, Mr. Nightingale?
Yeah, good. Yeah, sorry about before. Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. It's like maybe Bob fell asleep.
Yeah, no.
Where are you going anywhere for the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm in St. Louis now.
Oh, you're in St. Louis. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, good.
Yeah, I was in Texas for Judge, now I'm in St. Louis.
Oh my God, really? Of all the series, did you tell me that wasn't your choice? You didn't choose St. Louis, did you?
I wanted St. Louis against the Padres, but Phillies had said, okay, I just see Pujols, Molina. Maybe Pujols the last time, and Phillies, get a lot of stars. I was hoping the Padres would pull it out. I really wanted to see who the Padres played. I think Padres are interesting.
Yeah, that series that you're at is kind of the least intriguing to me, except for the fact that you've got the 3 retiring players. But all right, hang tight. We're coming back.
The worst one is Tampa.
Thursday edition of the Cash In. Thanks for being with us. Still 9-6 in the football game. It just doesn't get any better, does it? We'll come back to the football coming up in a couple minutes, let you know what happened in that game. I gave you my picks for the baseball postseason wild card round, and now we'll get some thoughts from my buddy Bob Nightingale. Does a terrific job. USA Today, all things baseball. Get some thoughts with him on this postseason and maybe a few other items around the game as well. Bob is in St. Louis for the Cardinals and the Phillies, and I joked with him before we came on. I had him on just before we came back, and I said, tell me, where are you? And he goes, I'm in St. Louis. And I was sitting there going, of all the series, that's the one you want to be at? So explain why you chose St. Louis.
Well, I mean, St. Louis, I love St. Louis baseball town. I mean, New York's unbelievable. I'll go St. Louis number 2, or not a 1A. But anyways, with Pujols and Molina, who knows about Wainwright, Philadelphia, not being here in 11 years. What's amazing is last time these two teams played was a 5-game series in 2011. Great game. Cardinals won 1-0 in Game 5. The Cardinals took off from there. They went to playoffs 8 different times, 2 World Series. And the Phillies fall apart. They haven't been in the playoffs since.
All right, so what do you make of that St. Louis series? I said I love the Cardinals in it. It's kind of funny. They're sort of steady as she goes. They fly under the radar throughout the year nationally when you talk about all the teams around the game. Give me some thoughts on this series. I didn't think the Phillies were playing particularly well coming into the postseason.
No, they struggled on the stretch, almost took this thing away. But, the pitching matches for starting rotation is a huge mismatch, with what's going on. When, we have Quintana starting Game 1, Miles Mikolas in Game 2, against Wheeler and Nola. That's tough for the Cardinals. But something about October brings the best of the Cardinals, and they should have beat the Dodgers last year in the wild card game. And you talk to the Cardinals after that game, they thought they're going to win the World Series. A lot of confidence here too, but they're a different animal come October. While a lot of teams just kind of wilt from the pressure, this team doesn't do it.
What do you make of this sort of last run? It's so bizarre to have, one player playing in the postseason, and it's going to be his last. I mean, you've got 3 here. It's so odd to have 3 guys potentially all walking off the stage at the final time. I don't recall ever there being a series quite like this in that regard.
Well, especially when you're talking about 11 years ago, these guys are still on the same team. Obviously Pujols left, but that's the amazing part. Wainwright, Molina, Pujols were all part of that 2011 team. I mean, you never see that. So that makes it exciting, and the fans are going to go ballistic. First time for second time since Pujols left in 2011. He's been in the playoffs. He's never won a playoff game since. When he was with the Angels, they made the playoffs in 2014 and didn't win a single game. So people go wild tomorrow for Pujols.
Put into perspective, and we're talking about Bob Nightingale, USA Today MLB writer. He's been around the game a long time. There was a ton of focus on Aaron Judge, and rightly so, with what he wound up accomplishing down the stretch. 700 home runs for Albert Pujols was not on our radar this year. It wasn't on the bingo card anywhere. There was no way this guy was supposed to get to 700 home runs. Put into perspective, and he finishes at 703. Put into perspective what he was able to accomplish here in August and September, really to remember.
Yeah, that second half, was one of his greatest second halves ever. I was talking to Paul Goldschmidt today, and he says, his first year was 2011, so he didn't see Pujols in his prime and what he was doing in St. Louis. And then guys were telling him, hey, what you're seeing from Pujols now, he was doing, he was averaging that every year. He was the best. People can talk about Trout's offensive numbers, Ohtani's offensive numbers. They're dwarfed by what Pujols did during those 11 years in St. Louis. We may never see anything like that again. So he's so revered in this town, and standing ovations every time he steps up plate. It's almost a Cinderella story.
Regardless of what he says right now, you think there's any chance he comes back?
No, I sat with him just a couple weeks ago for a long sit down and saw him today. But yeah, no chance. This way he goes out on top. No matter what they do in the postseason, he goes on top.
San Diego and New York, Padres and the Mets. If you had asked me, a week and a half ago, if these two had met up, who I would have taken, I would have said the Mets because, of course, you got DeGrom and Scherzer going in 2 of the 3 games. Now, after watching them sort of wet the bed in Atlanta and get swept in that series and wind up losing the NL East as a result, I'm just not as sure about the idea of the Mets with DeGrom and Scherzer, and now there's this idea of DeGrom going in Game 3, Scherzer going in Game 1, Bassett in Game 2, Buck potentially overthinking this. What do you make of the series?
No, I'm with you. I mean, Padres pitching is electric. I mean, Yu Darvish is pitching as well as any pitcher in baseball right now. If he wins Game 1, look out. I mean, and then you got a Joe Musgrove, the horse for Game 3. You got Blake Snell, who's been pitching very well in Game 2. So if their offense can wake up, if Soto can be just a semblance what he was in Washington, that would help. I mean, he's been a disaster since getting to San Diego. I don't know what happened to the guy, but he hasn't looked good at all. But if he's the Juan Soto of Washington, when he goes back to Citi Field, they can cause some damage there.
And the Mets can't score. Look, am I crazy when I talk about this? I made the point on Twitter earlier this week that you have 30% of your payroll, 30%, $70 million basically wrapped up into DeGrom and Scherzer. And for me, I think it's great the Mets can spend what they want. Stephen Cohen has a ton of money, but the fact of the matter is this team still never really addressed the offensive issues that it's had.
No, I kept thinking they were going to break out of it, made some moves, got, Darren Ruff, and did that sort of thing. Just, they never panned out. It seems like it's either, a big offensive game or nothing. So, Alonso would be a key. Lindor would be a key, just to put the ball in play. I mean, obviously what Alonso does, he can do so much damage. He's got so many RBIs. But, yeah, I mean, I think it would be a real nightmare if the Mets don't get past the first round. Just that, they raised everybody's expectations so high, thinking like, okay, this is the year and everything else. It'd be a very tough winter for Mets fans.
Yeah, I agree with you. Over in the American League, Tampa Bay and Cleveland, and in a lot of years, I would have said, yeah, I like Tampa Bay. They seem to rise at this time of the year, but Cleveland, Terry Francona is probably going to win AL Manager of the Year. At least he should. I know the Rays were missing Wander Franco for a big chunk of time this year. I just don't have the same vibes around this Tampa Bay team in the postseason this time around as I have in years past. Do you agree?
Well, I do agree. I think I saw the stat that lost 18 of the last 26, coming into the postseason. Nobody really scares you there. Cleveland's a fun team. I mean, 17 guys made a major league debut, the youngest team to ever make the postseason. These guys could be good for a while. I'd love to see them make one more run for the World Series. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but one more run for the World Series before Francona hangs it up.
Mariners and the Blue Jays. The Mariners are my vanity pick. I love them. I've loved them all year. I'm a huge Julio Rodriguez fan. Eugenio Suarez, Carlos Santana, what they did in upgrading their rotation at the deadline. Ty Francis picked it up after a little bit of a lull during the summer. I know Toronto is the favorite. And I know Seattle would have loved to have had these games in their own park at T-Mobile Park. But can you make an argument for the Mariners in this series, even with all 3 games in Toronto?
Yeah, I think they're the biggest sleeper of the postseason.
I agree. I agree.
When I was talking to the Yankees, they wanted no part of the Mariners because Castillo owns those guys. I mean, it's unbelievable. But when you have Castillo going number 1, Robbie Ray won the Cy Young Award 2, Logan Gilbert 3, and a good bullpen, that's powerful. The only thing that scares you with the Mariners is the fact, they're so young. What happens, in the playoff pressure. A lot of those guys obviously have never been there. So you wonder about the position players. It'd be a shame if they don't have a home game, after going all these years, 21 years. And the fans never see him, play a playoff game. That'd be tough. I would have been fascinated if it was the other way around because there's so many Blue Jay fans that live in Seattle I would have been real curious to see whether Mariners have more fans or the Blue Jays have more fans.
Well, listen, I'm almost out of time. I know the Royals have a managerial opening. The White Sox have to figure out what they're going to do with their managerial opening. Is it going to be Miguel Cairo that winds up the manager in Chicago?
I don't think so. I mean, he started off strong, but then they quit under him, just like they did La Russa. So there was no difference. They still played very uninspiring after start. So I think they're going to look for a veteran guy. I brought the name Carlos Beltran, and they like Beltran, but I think they want a guy with experience. The guy that jumps out, obviously, is Bruce Bochy. We'll see what happens there.
How about the Royals?
I think they'll go more of a young guy. Maybe promote their own guy. Greg Ball there, Joe Espada of Houston. Looks like he may get some job either there or Marlins. There I don't think you need to have a guy because it's going to take a veteran guy because it's going to take years anyway for that team to turn around. So I would think they go more of a young guy.
Bob Nightingale, enjoy the series in St. Louis between the Cardinals and the Phillies. Appreciate your time as always. We'll catch up soon.
All right, look forward to it. Thanks, buddy.
This Thursday night football game is bonkers. We'll tell you what happened when we come back on the Cash In Sports Map Radio and the Sports Map Radio app.
You might be right.
Oh, my God. It's crazy. He threw such a bad pass. What's he doing?
Who, Ryan?
Russell.
Oh, my God.
That was such a terrible throw.
And then why would you go after Gilmore? And why would you go to the guy when Sutton's not in the game?
I'm sitting here doing this interview with Bob, losing my mind. My head is turned the whole time. I'm not even looking at the camera. I mean, come on.
We got a guest for Monday.
Who?
Barry Bloom.
Oh, cool.
He's covering the Mets Padres series.
Love it. Excellent.
So he couldn't come on tomorrow because he's covering the series instead of time.
Awesome.
But so I said, I'll get you Monday then. Perfect. Because we
need that's cool. I love Barry.
Right after Monday. All right. So and I think we did college football with.
Who's doing? Does Fox have any of these divisional games?
No, I think yes. Fox has the divisional games. They got the NL divisional.
No, I mean not divisional. I'm sorry, wild card round.
No, ESPN has all the wild cards. All right, that game.
I told you we were getting
No, you're
overtime.
right. Well, that's because Russell Wilson. That's Russell Wilson's fault.
God, it's so bad. If they lose this game, people in Denver are going to lose their minds.
By the way, if they lose, I wanted to get Nick Ferguson.
Hold on. What'd you say, Brian? No. What was the NFL history stat? Hold on to that because I'm going to ask you for it. I'll ask you for it. That's funny. We're just getting exactly what we deserve with this game.
Oh, live betting. What's the live betting?
The live betting? It's a good question. What's funny is like midway through the third quarter or early fourth quarter, it was like 21.5 was the total. And it's still not even going to come close.
It could.
I mean, it could. It could.
There's been what? It was 6-3 going into the half.
It's 24.5 now.
No,
it's
24.5. No, it won't. It won't. Because it was 6-3. Now it's what? 9-9? That means 9 points have been scored. So
could get 2 field goals in overtime though, and then a third field goal to win it.
Touchdown. Still would be 12.
Yeah, no. I'm saying, but you're at 18 now. If 24.5 is the number, you could get field goal, or you can get field goal touchdown.
Oh, for the total for the full game.
Yeah, because now the live total is 24.5. We're coming back. Hold on. We are getting everything we deserve with this Thursday night football game. I jokingly said to Vlad, we're getting overtime. We're going to get overtime with this game. And the entire interview with Bob Nightingale, I feel bad because if anybody's watching the video stream of the show on our Twitter, at the back page, on our Decibel 88 page, on YouTube, on our Decibel 88 page on Facebook, on our Jason Page 77 feed on Twitch. If anybody's watching the video of the show, which is always fun because Vlad and I talk during the breaks, so it's like the show on top of the show. I literally, the entire interview with Bob Nightingale was not looking at the camera, and people would think like I probably wasn't paying any attention to what he was saying. I was, but I had my head turned over to my left like this, just watching Russell Wilson throw one of the worst balls in the worst spots imaginable. Just over 2 minutes to go. They're driving. They're in prime field goal range to make it 12-6. And he throws a ball on a crossing pattern that, I mean, he might as well, it looked like he was trying to throw it to the Colts defender. That's how bad it was. And then Matt Ryan drives the Colts down the field for a game-tying field goal, 9-9. We go to overtime in Denver. And let me tell you, there are a few times where, I shouldn't say that. Prime Video did a terrific thing after the interception from Russell Wilson. They must have taken like 5 different fan shots, and every fan had their head on top of their head like this. And you could just see they were actually absolutely exasperated. I mean, you could tell they just had nothing left to give. Like, even if the Broncos win this game, it might just be like a quiet murmur through the stadium when they kick the game-winning field goal. Because at this point, nobody supporting that organization could feel good about this team. There's just no way. Were you watching it, Vlad, when it happened?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool. They're going to go for 3. Some people may have the Broncos -3. And, you thought, okay, field goal. And I'm thinking to myself, you said, no, this is good. This is going to go to overtime. And I'm like, nah, this is not going to go to overtime. Indy can't go down the field and score a touchdown. And they didn't have to. They went down the field and got a field goal.
They almost got a touchdown, too. They had a shot at it late. Who won the coin toss? Do we know?
Denver did.
Denver wins the coin toss.
Wait, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Indy did?
Was,
all right. Indy must have, because Indy is -132 on the money line and Denver's +104. That's the live wager that's available now. I don't even think the total or the spread will probably come into play during OT. They'll probably just keep the money line up. So you got Indy now it's Indy down to -122 and Denver -104. I would kill to be a fly on the wall in the sports radio world in Denver if the Broncos wind up losing this game. Again, I don't know if either team could really feel good about themselves coming out of this game, other than the fact that one of them's going to win. No, right?
But here's the thing with Denver. If they win, they're the crappiest 3-2 team we've ever seen, but it's good because in that division, the AFC West, where we all thought everybody was going to be so great, and it just is what it's always been the last 6-7 years. It's been Kansas City's division. At least being 3-2 and you haven't played KC, you're good. You haven't played the Chargers yet. That's good.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the new name of the owner of the owner of the Broncos.
Just call them the Walmart family.
Just call them. All right, we'll just call them the Walmart family. That's actually a good point.
Indy won the coin toss.
Indy won the coin toss, and that's why they're -122 on the money line. I got to be honest. I have no faith in the Broncos. If I were a betting man right now, I'm going to say it. I don't want to put the mush on the Colts, but if I were a betting man right now, I'd take the Colts and say they figure out a way to win this game. Because the Broncos sure hell have figured out, how to lose the game. They don't deserve to win it. Oh, they just showed the interception again.
That's the game. I mean, that's literally the game.
Oh, man. Bronco fans, they're so excited. Just think about it. Week 1 in Seattle. So excited. Get a shot at his old team. So, man, all pumped up. Now look at you. Now look at
but
you.
Matt Ryan could throw a pick six.
He could. But again, he's also the Matt Ryan. Look, and both of these guys have had moments already early in this season, whether it was Russell Wilson driving the Broncos down the field in that game against San Francisco for a game-winning score, or Matt Ryan driving the Colts down in that game against the Chiefs. Really the most improbable win of this NFL season so far. It even feels more improbable when you look at the Colts right now.
Yeah, but if you saw that game, KC beat themselves.
They did. They did, but still, Matt Ryan had to drive them down the field late in the game, and he did. I mean, there's no getting around it. Lisa Horne's going to join us coming up in about 7 minutes. Our good old buddy, and I don't mean old literally, but Lisa Horne will join us. PigskinGrind.com. She does great work around college football. She's just recovering. She was sick. She had COVID. I feel so bad. She's like, do I sound okay? I'm like, you sound fine. Lisa Horne will join us coming up about 7 minutes from now. We'll get some thoughts with her on college football. Obviously, Alabama and Texas A&M, one of the marquee games of the weekend, even though Alabama's probably going to beat them by 30. 23.5-point favorites, by the way, Bama, in that game. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Nick's been waiting for this game since
some comeuppance. That is the definition of comeuppance, without question. Kansas. Who would have thought we'd be talking about Kansas in Week 6 of the college football season as a marquee game? But the Jayhawks this weekend, that is a marquee game in college football. You got Kansas, taking on a 19th ranked TCU team. So we'll get some thoughts with Lisa on that. Number 8 Tennessee, still unbeaten. 25th ranked LSU is their opponent. Hendon Hooker has basically played himself into the Heisman conversation. And he's a legit Heisman threat at this point. And LSU's got a good defense, so it could be the first potential slip up for Tennessee. They've already got a couple of great wins on their ledger this year. I want to look ahead too, because we've been banging on Michigan for their schedule. And they don't play them this week, but I'm curious about Michigan and Penn State next week. I want to see what Lisa thinks of that series. And in that Alabama game, does Bryce Young play? Does Nick Saban think he can win without him? Because all the medical evidence going around that game is that the longer Bryce Young doesn't throw a football, the quicker this shoulder injury is going to heal. And if Nick Saban's playing the long game here, and he has to be, I think he's got to roll the dice with the backup this week and say, we're capable of beating Texas A&M without Bryce Young.
Nah, Jimbo's got to get this ass whooping.
He might get it with or without Bryce Young, though. And again, Nick Saban's smart. As much as he wants to lay it down on Jimbo Fisher. And he's playing coy right now with whether or not Bryce Young's going to play this weekend or not. And I don't even think he's necessarily just playing coy. I think he doesn't know whether or not to start Bryce Young. I don't think he's made a decision on it yet. Be interesting. We'll find out on Saturday. So we'll ask all of that to Lisa Horne coming up here in just a couple of minutes. 1-800-224-2004 is the phone number if you want to get involved in the show. 800-224-2004. You can tweet at the show as well at the back page. Colts are lining up to kick a field goal. We'll keep you up to date on the Thursday night football game after our conversation with Lisa Horne, PigskinGrind.com. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to do. Thursday edition of the Cash In on Sports Map Radio.
Kick is up, and it's good.
There you go. 12-9. This is self-contained on the front end. And then I'll take it out live out the backside. 2 interviews and the wild card segment I did before we got Bob on. Huh? Yep. Try and see if you can do me a favor too in that segment where I try and edit it a little bit, because I don't want any of the the score of the football game or whatever. If you could take out because I think in the wild card segment I start off the segment talking about the game. You know what I mean? Thank you. I don't like that. I really don't like putting dated stuff in the podcast if I can avoid it.
DeAndre Swift out for the game.
What's up?
DeAndre Swift is out for the Lions.
Yeah, I saw that scroll
It's not
across
good.
the bottom.
Jake Elliott's going to miss the game for the Eagles, their kicker.
Yeah, St. Brown didn't practice either.
Yes. I have him in my fantasy team.
Oh, hold on. I got to do this. Hold on one second. I got to get to the Lisa thing here. Hold on. Movies. Sitting here talking. Audio. As we continue on this Thursday night, and of course, it is about Thursday night football in the NFL, but in a couple of days, it'll be all about college football, and who better to talk about it with our old buddy? And I don't mean like literally that she's old. I mean old as in we've been talking to her for a while, but we haven't spoken to her since our NBC Sports Radio days, and I'm thrilled to talk to Lisa Horne, college football insider. She's a Heisman voter as well, giving us a few minutes on the show tonight. All right, Lisa, let's start with the obvious. Bama and A&M this weekend. We know the bad blood between Jimbo Fisher and as we continue on this just give me 12-12. It's what we all deserve. As we As we continue on this Thursday night, and of course, it is about Thursday night football in the NFL, but in a couple of days, it'll be all about college football, and who better to talk about it with our old buddy? I don't mean like literally that she's old. I mean old as in we've been talking to her for a while, but we haven't spoken to her since our NBC Sports Radio days, and I'm thrilled to talk to Lisa Horne, college football insider. She's a Heisman voter as well, giving us a few minutes on the show tonight. All right, Lisa, let's start with the obvious. Bama and A&M this weekend. We know the bad blood between Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban after the back and forth during the offseason. We'll get to the Bryce Young injury in a second. Aggies are a 23.5-point underdog. And as bad as it's been for Jimbo Fisher this season, could he erase all of that if he found a way to win on Saturday?
Well, anytime you win against the GOAT, I think that's definitely a feather in his cap, but that's not going to happen. Alabama is just, as usual, on a different playing level than everyone else. Plus, Max Johnson, I believe the quarterback for Texas A&M, has supposedly an injury to his hand, which may keep him out for the rest of the season. That's a concern, I think, when you're playing at Alabama. They lost to Appalachian State, okay, but still, that's not an SEC team. And then they lost huge to Mississippi State. I don't see the Aggies, sorry, Aggie fans, I don't see them recovering from this. I think they're going to have, I think the 8-4 season last year is probably, that's like the standard for this year. I don't see a lot of wins left. I really don't.
Yeah.
Massachusetts, I'll give them that. Maybe South Carolina. And maybe Auburn. I don't know. I don't know. They could 6-7 wins, maybe, but not against Alabama. Not at Alabama.
What does that mean for Jimbo Fisher long term?
Well, they're paying him a fortune, and it is his 5th year. So I always say, don't make any rash decisions. You got to give a coach at least 4 years to make sure he gets all of his guys on the playing field. 5 years is a long time. Texas A&M is just one of those teams where it's always been like, on the cusp, like, yeah, we think great things are going to happen. Like it's like they're the Oregon Ducks of the SEC. You know, it's like almost, but no. I think Ole Miss is the one that Lane Kiffin's doing a great job there. He's slowly building the team up. You're seeing that gradual improvement, and I think that's what Aggie fans should expect instead of just this. Okay, if we beat Bama, then we're I don't think they're going to beat them. I just don't. 22.5 points, so that's a lot of points.
Yeah, I'm surprised Lane Kiffin has all that time to put together a good program because it feels like he works on his tan more than he works on anything. Every time I look at him,
his Twitter account, right? Trolling Saban all the time. I love it.
Let's talk about Bryce Young then, because he practiced Wednesday. They gave him the day off today. I feel like he's starting, but if Nick Saban feels like, and again, he's got to play the long game here, looking at the aspirations for this Alabama team. And he said himself, and the doctors have said themselves, that essentially you're in a situation where the only way this injury gets better is with rest. Do they think they've got enough that they could win with their backup? He was able to run the football effectively, on Saturday. Do they feel like they can go that route and still win this game? And do they want to chance that?
I think you do chance it. This is a big game, but I think the one at Tennessee is bigger. And then you have Mississippi State, and then you get that bye on October 29th. That's what, 2.5 weeks before this Bryce Young gets a real rest. And, Nick Saban, I think, is one of those coaches where he just throws everything on the table, and we don't really even know the official diagnosis of what he had. A shoulder sprain, as someone who's had a torn rotator cuff, those things can be really painful, and you can make it worse. But I don't know, Bryce Young seems like the type of guy who would say, yeah, I'm good to go, and the doctors say, yeah, we don't see swelling, and the MRI didn't really come up with anything positive, then I'm not a football coach. I would play him. I love Bryce Young. I would. I just, he wants to play. This is a guy I'm sure who wants to play on Sundays. And unless it's an injury that we don't know, that maybe Saban knows more about it than we do. He hasn't said he's not going to start, but Saban, he's going to play mind games. And he's playing mental games right now with Jimbo Fisher. Meanwhile, we know Max Johnson is out. So if I'm Saban, maybe you put him in, start him, okay? And if it's easy peasy going against Texas A&M and, Bama's rolling, it gets at least 14 points on the first 2 drives, then, you know what? Maybe pull him and, put the other guy in. He was good. He ran. This kid's a stud. I was watching him. I'm like, where did he come from? It's just like next man up at Alabama. That's why I think Saban's in a really good position. No matter what he does, I think Bama's going to be okay.
Lisa Horne joining us, college football insider, Heisman voter, giving us some time here on the Cash In Sports Map Radio and the Sports Map Radio app. Give me the undefeated top 25 team with the biggest risk of taking their first loss this week. Is it 17th ranked Kansas going up against 19th ranked TCU?
You know what? Gosh, I'm looking at a few of the games. Utah versus UCLA is an interesting one. Utah already has 1 loss. UCLA has none. UCLA is not getting a lot of respect from the pollsters.
They're not getting respect from their own fans. Nobody's going to the games.
I know. It's really sad. As someone who, I'm south of LA. I'm between LA and San Diego. I'm in Orange County. But, I'm really tired of making excuses for UCLA. Sorry, Bruin fans, but you know what? Yes, you play at the Rose Bowl. Yes. On game day, it's like a 30 to 45-minute commute from the school to the Rose Bowl. That's hard to sell to students, okay? But at some point, you have to sit there and say, okay, are we going to be a big boy football school, or are we going to be like a big boy basketball school and pretend that we really are into football? And that's where I felt the program's gone under Chancellor Block for a long time, and I continue to see it. UCLA is like, oh, we're paying over $3 million a year. I don't know what SC is paying Lincoln Riley, but I'm sure it's at least $10 million, and that's because it's important, and that irritates UCLA fans. But I still think this is a really important game for both teams. Utah needs to take that next step. They're kind of like Texas A&M, where they're turning heads, but it's like, but what have you done for me lately? Okay. So I do like the UCLA, Utah. I think another one that is kind of interesting, and a lot of people are looking at this, but I really, really like Tennessee a lot.
Yeah, I got that written down. I had that written down.
Tennessee, that I like them, or that you like them too?
Well, no, that I think that that Tennessee LSU matchup is pretty intriguing to see how Hendon Hooker, who's basically turned himself into a legit Heisman threat, and LSU's defense has been really good.
Yeah, Tennessee needs to beat LSU bad. Finally, knock them out of the top 25 and say, okay. Now, my daughter goes to TCU, so a little personal bias here. I think the TCU KU game could just be lit. I mean, that thing could just be like 58 to 56. I love Max Duggan. I mean, he was last year. He's made some bad decisions at times. I'm like, sometimes he plays like not a very smart quarterback. This year, it's like a light bulb went off, and I think he gets it. And I think this is a really good game. Everyone's going to root for KU, and I don't blame them. Half of me roots for KU just because it's such a great story. But I think TCU is probably one of the top two teams in the Big 12, the other being Kansas State. And I'm still a big fan of their running back, Deuce Vaughn, as a Heisman candidate. So I think this is a real important game for TCU. Real important. Not as much for KU.
With Paul Chryst out now at Wisconsin, of the available jobs, is Wisconsin the best, or would you rather be at Nebraska if you were a free agent coach?
I got to pick, huh?
You're like, can I just stay? Can I just stay in Southern California? Is probably what you're saying.
Gosh, Nebraska's been a really tough job since.
Well, I mean, is there one that's better? I mean, is it? It's not Arizona State. That's a dumpster fire.
No. Well, yeah, and they've got there's some NCAA stuff.
Yeah.
I mean that's. But although Arizona is a really cool place to live, I will tell you, especially in the Phoenix area. But I'm honestly, even though Peterson, I think the AD was Peterson at Nebraska years ago. That's when this whole Nebraska program kind of went downhill. I love the fans. They show up. They will root. And I respect that. And so I think personally, Nebraska is probably a better job. Wisconsin, if they get to the Rose Bowl, that seems to be the pinnacle. You could lump them in with Oregon, but we've got a lot of those teams where, they just haven't gotten to the next step. So I'm going to say Nebraska just because nothing personal against Wisconsin. I love their jump around thing and all that, and they've got great fans. Madison's great. I've been there. It's a party place. But I've got a soft spot for Nebraska. I think I do like the fans, and I like them. It's a legendary football program.
Before I let you go, I know it's a week out, a little over a week out, but what are you most anxious to learn in that Penn State Michigan sort of hookup next weekend? Because a lot of people are picking on Michigan for who they haven't played so far. Now they'll get tested. What is it you most look forward to out of that game?
I think if Michigan wins big, because I think Penn State's a good team. I think they're kind of underrated. If Michigan wins big by at least 10 points, I think that's a solid win. There should be no reason why Michigan shouldn't jump Ohio State. And honestly, I think they're a top two team. I was really impressed with Michigan. So I want to see how the pollsters react, I guess would be my answer to that.
Good stuff. Lisa Horne, college football writer, pigskingrind.com. You could also find her on Twitter at Lisa Horne, LisaHorne. We're going to have to get you down to, I live in Palm Springs now, so we're going to have to get you down to Palm Springs.
Oh my gosh, you're only like an hour and a half away from me. Well, the way I drive, like an hour and 15.
Yes, I come out there all the time. I'm out at Diamond Bar, and we go out to L.A. We go get Din Tai Fung, and we're going to have to, you and I, we're going to have to get together and do something.
I would love it.
All right.
I would love it.
Well, feel better. I know you've been under the weather. We'll talk soon and enjoy the football this weekend. Good to talk to you.
You too. Take care, my friend.
That's all I could say right now. Wow. Thanks to Lisa Horne for hopping on the horn. But did you see the end of the Thursday night football game? I mean, it's just bonkers. It's just bonkers. And I don't know who to blame, but we're going to talk about it. No, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because I'm just, wow. I don't have enough time to get into what happened at the end of regulation and then in overtime, but we'll get into
3 minutes.
Yeah. We'll get into it. We'll get into it here to finish up the hour in just a second. 1-800-224-2004 is the phone number. 1-800-224-2004. If you're listening to us in Denver, you might want to, take a sip, take a drink, and then, calm down a little bit before you talk to us because you might be a little bent out of shape. If you're in Indy, you're just feeling glad you figured out a way to come out of Denver with a victory. But there is a lot to talk about coming out of this Thursday night football game. For a game that only had 21 points scored in it, there is a lot to talk about. And we will start to do that and dissect what happened there when we return on the Cash In. I'm Jason Page at Sports Map Radio.
You broke early.
No, 53.
Oh, it's 55.
No, it's 53. 55 is too late. What'd you say, Brian? Yeah, I know, but what's his name? Craig told me he wanted me typically out by 53, 54 at the latest. And I wasn't going to, I don't want to, if I start there, I'm not going to want to stop, so. And I got to do a read here for Jock Market, so. Yeah.
So is it any bread being broken with Jock Market?
So you have it? Okay. No. Okay. What were you saying, Vlad? Sorry.
Oh, any bread being broken with Jock Market?
Oh, it's done. I told you.
No, I understand it.
What do you mean? Al Michaels with the call. Prime Video. Stephen Gilmore breaking it up. Final play of the game. Colts beat the Broncos 12-9 in overtime. It almost wound up a tie. If the Broncos had elected for a field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 from the 6 or 7 yard line, whatever it was. Look, there's a lot to get to from this game. We'll do it coming up in the next hour, largely because obviously there is a lot of elements of this to tackle. 1-800-224-2004 is the phone number. 800-224-2004. You can tweet at me at the back page. A word from our friends at Jock Market, Jock MKT. Stay in the game. Make real money every hour, every minute, every second of every game. Think of it like a stock market for athletes. I mean, it's really cool. Head over to jockmkt.com and go get signed up. You could also just download the app. It's a lot easier. The Jock MKT app. And listen to this. Listeners of the Cash In, you've got a special opportunity right now. You make your first deposit, you get a 100% deposit bonus by using the promo code CASHIN. Very simple. Go download the Jock MKT app. That's exactly how it's spelled. Jock MKT. You download the app, you make a deposit, you get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. If you put in $20, get a $20 deposit bonus. You put in $100, you get a $100 deposit bonus. Simple as that. Jock MKT is the app. It's like trading stocks. Instead, it's trading players. They have fantasy type contests, but they also have contests where you're just going out there and picking players, and based how they perform, your stock goes up. Then you could get rid of it after the game. You make money. It's fantastic. Jock MKT. Stay in the game. Real money every hour, every minute, every second of the game here on the Cash In. And again, promo code Cash In for your 100% deposit bonus. Go and do it now. Next hour, we'll get into what transpired. Maybe we'll get some post-game reaction too. A wild night in Denver ends with a Broncos loss. I'm Jason Page. It's the Cash In on Sports Map Radio. Yeah, I mean, to be brutally honest, Oh, boy.
Yeah, some hard times with Russell. Yeah. He gonna say all the prayers, God with him and all of that. But that's great. Hackett's not gonna last a year, boy. If they don't make the playoff, they don't turn around. They're like an 8-9 team, 7-10, and you just gave that man nearly $250 million. Right now, Pete Carroll looks great.
Yeah, it was that deal's looking better and better for Seattle. That's for sure.
And what's going on is, with so much hatred, there's a lot of hatred with Russell, and people were wondering why. Why is the Legion of Boom? Why all these guys talk trash about Russell? Why do they hate him? Why do they have such disdain? And a lot of it is because he was getting the accolades and all the credit for what was going on when they felt like it was them. And I don't know.
Coming back.
This is nasty.
We're keeping an eye on post-game reaction out of Denver. Colts beat the Broncos 12-9 in one of the weirdest primetime games I could remember in recent memory. That's the only way I can describe it. I mean, it really is. It's just weird. We'll see what we get from the Broncos in the post-game show. Keeping our eye on Denver. See if anybody comes to the podium, and when they do, we'll switch over to it, because there's got to be a lot of hyperventilating going on right now in Denver, and just flat out panic for a team that's 2-3, can't score, and it almost just feels like every button they push on offense, one way or the other, isn't going to work. I mean, even at the end of this game tonight, it felt like you were going to get the sort of same finish you got where Russell Wilson was able to drive the team down the field, get the win against San Francisco, that late drive, and you go, okay, we got out of it with a win, it's okay. It had that feel to it. The drive had that feel to it. And then, on a 4th and 1, Russell doesn't use his legs. He makes a poor throw. He makes a poor throw at the end of, or near the end of regulation, which leads to the interception. And I'm telling you, there just has to be a complete lack of confidence right now. And it doesn't get any easier for the Broncos now at 2-3. I mean, look, can you imagine a year where you go and give up what you gave up in the trade to get Russell Wilson, then give him $250 million. Now you're 2-3. You've got the Chargers in LA next week. 2-4. 2-4. Then you're home for the Jets, who are not a pushover right now.
2-5.
I mean, even if we give them the benefit of the doubt and say they get a win there, right?
3. All right, whatever. It's gonna be a
so
dogfight.
3-4, yeah.
Easy win.
3. So let's just say they're 2-4 after LA. They're 3-4 after they play the Jets at home. You have to think they could figure out a way to win that game. But again, the Jets are not pushovers. That's the one thing we know through 4 weeks plus of the season. Then they're at Jacksonville. We know how good the Jaguars are.
Dude, it's a cross country. Is that I'm sorry. Is that an early game?
That is a London game. That's a London game.
Oh, that's a London game.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So that's a London game. Then they're at Tennessee. Not an easy game. Home for the Raiders, at Carolina. A couple of games that are potentially winnable, but we just saw them lose to the Raiders. Then at Baltimore, KC.
Loss.
Arizona. Game's in Denver. I'll give them a win there. At the Rams, at KC. Oh, their final stretch of the season. They play. Look at this. They play Baltimore, KC, Arizona, the Rams, KC, and the Chargers. Their last 6 games. They're not going to the playoffs. This is not a playoff team. This might be a 7-win team right now.
If that's a 7-win
7-10.
Houston, Nathaniel Hackett will not be the Denver Broncos head coach.
No, absolutely not. Nope, he won't be. He won't be. Because you can't fire Russell Wilson. You just paid him $250 million. So you're going to have to figure out somebody you can get in there that can figure out how to make this version of Russell Wilson palatable and winnable with this group of Broncos players. I don't know what the answer is. I do not know what the answer is. Wow. I mean, it's stunning. And again, this time around, maybe Pete Carroll and the Broncos knew what they were doing, and the Seahawks knew what they were doing. Maybe they cut him loose because they knew this was the version of Russell Wilson they were getting. 1-800-224-2004 if you've got a reaction to the Thursday night game. 1-800-224-2004. You can hit us up on Twitter at the back page if you've got a thought on the game. Boy, man, there are teams around the league going, phew, man, we might be in rough shape. At least we're not Denver.
Let me ask you this.
1-800-224-2004. I'm watching an interview with Bradley Chubb right now, and I can't see what he's saying. But I could. He's in the locker room being interviewed by somebody from the Broncos. They have this Denver Broncos YouTube thing, so it's something run by the team. But Bradley Chubb, the body language does not look good.
Oh, I showed you the picture of Melvin Gordon looking at Russell on the bench.
Yes,
it's like you looking like Adam, like you don't deserve to be drinking that water. Like you shouldn't be drinking that water after that interception.
No water for guys who do what you just did.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I told you a quarter into the season that Geno Smith would be putting up better numbers than Russell Wilson.
Can you imagine?
What would you tell me? What would you tell me?
Wow.
It's like Vlad, stop smoking, right?
Man, it's a Brooklyn Bridge deal. Like this is, talk about pulling the wool over the eyes. Again, it's a stunt. We're not just talking about, by the way, Geno Smith being better than Russell Wilson so far this year. There's people that are talking about Geno Smith as an MVP candidate right now, the way he's played. Which, again, pump the brakes. It's calmed down. It's 4 games. Yeah, but literally, his stock and his number in the MVP for FanDuel, if you look at the odds, it's one of the biggest jumps of anybody in the league. I'm not saying he's going to win it. I'm not that crazy. But he's had one of the biggest jumps, and who's had one of the biggest drops? Not even Russell Wilson. One of the biggest drops is Tom Brady, believe it or not.
Brady and A-Rod, huh?
Yes. A-Rod's seen quite the precipitous drop as well. But wow, what do you do? I just don't know where you go if you're the Broncos. But again, I'm gonna be the voice of reason for a second. I'm gonna pull back, wide shot it here for a second. You're 2-3, 5 games into the season. And when you look at the rest of the AFC and sort of where it is right now, you take stock. Yeah, Miami's good. Buffalo's good. Miami's got issues at the quarterback position, obviously, with the injury to Tua. And I'd be shocked if we saw Tua again this season, by the way. And nobody's talking about it because nobody really knows. But I'd be really surprised if we saw him again this year.
We will.
We'll see. But, after those teams in Kansas City, the Chargers are 2-2. The Titans are 2-2. The Jaguars are 2-2. The Browns are 2-2. Everybody's so mediocre that even through 5 games, if you are a Broncos fan, and if you're the Broncos organization, I know we in the media are going to hyperventilate off this game, as we should, because what we just watched for the second time in 5 weeks with your $250 million quarterback that does not look like even a $250 million quarterback right now. So it's our job to kind of hyperventilate, and fans will do that too. But you look at what's transpired here, they're still just 2-3 in a conference that's got a ton of 2-2 teams. And after this weekend, guess what? This conference will have a bunch of 2-3 teams, and the Broncos will be one of them. They still do have a really good defense. And they've got time to still get it figured out. It's a 17-game season. We're only 5 games in. We're not even a third of the way through the season. So I'm going to try to be the voice of reason for just a second. I'm going to try to be the voice of reason for a second. I see fans in the chat room for this Broncos YouTube channel I'm looking at, and all they keep writing is, we want Fangio back.
They hate Hackett. Okay, now you're saying a third, right?
Yep.
We're not even a third. You
Not
know next week is a third of the season, right?
Yes,
and
I do.
You know who they play, and you said their schedule.
Absolutely.
Who do they play next week?
They could be 2-4 after next week.
So 2-4 and third in the season. What you gonna say then?
Depends what the rest of the conference looks like, doesn't it? I mean, you have to wait and see, man. I mean, look at who else is 2-2 right now. The Browns, Bengals, Ravens, Jaguars, Titans, Colts. Well, Colts are 3-2 now.
2-1.
And the Chargers are 2-2.
Right.
You know, I mean, you're gonna have a bunch of 2 and 3 teams in there, and you're gonna be one game basically out of a wild card spot, right? You'll be one game. You're gonna be one game out of a wild card spot, even if you're 2 and 4.
But you still have to face a lot of those teams that are ahead of you.
I get it. Look, I'm not disagreeing with you that through 5 games, this is not a playoff team. And if you ask me right now to look into my crystal ball and take Vlad's money, however much of it he has left, and put it on whether or not the Broncos make it, even if you gave me incredible odds on it, I'm not putting the Broncos in the playoffs. I mean, there's just nothing I've seen. But what we've learned about this league is it is a long season. Sometimes it clicks early. Sometimes it clicks in the middle. Sometimes it clicks towards the end. The only thing I would worry about with this team right now, and it's something we cannot possibly measure, and I wish we had our buddy Nick Ferguson on because it's something I would kind of ask him about, is the mental state of this team after a loss like this. I see a lot. Like I said, I don't even have to have the sound on. I could turn on these interviews if I want to, that are being done on YouTube by the Broncos reporter in the locker room in this Broncos post-game live. The body language tells me all I need when you look at what these players are saying right now. I mean, there's this sense of dread.
They don't want to hear none of this Russell. They don't want to hear none of that Russell, go Broncos, Broncos country. They don't want to hear none of that. They're frustrated right now. They see that man. He came in. There's a lot of hoopla. There's a lot of hype with him. He signed a $250 million contract. He's got the superstar wife. He's the family man.
The shame of it is, Vlad, they really
but he's not putting up the numbers. They don't see what the hype is about.
I mean,
they don't really see it.
The shame of it is too, Vlad, they've given up 80 points through 5 games.
No, defense has played great.
They were really good defense. I mean, and there's just no way you would think, if I had said to you, finish with this. If I had said to you the Broncos would give up 80 points through the first 5 games and Russell Wilson was the starting quarterback, you'd think you're at least 3-2, if not 4-1.
I'm thinking 4-1.
At the least. I mean, you'd think. I mean, maybe by accident, but I mean, there's no way you can imagine a team that's given up 80 points through the first 5 games with Russell Wilson as your starting quarterback at 2-3. It's crazy. We'll come back. 800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. If you've got a thought, you want to weigh in on what we just saw on Thursday Night Football on Twitter, at the back page. Could there be one cure, though? Could there be one saving grace? One way to turn it all around if you're the Denver Broncos? And when will they pull the trigger on it? We'll get to that next on the Cash In at Sports Map Radio.
By the way, Odell Beckham is doing a great job of letting himself be put out there.
Yeah. Yeah. When's he going to be ready?
He's going to be ready soon.
Is it?
That's why I think that's why I was like, I was talking to a friend of mine.
God, I would love to see him land in Dallas.
I was like, you know what? He was like, what? I was like, Odell needs, I think pretty soon we're going to start hearing Odell news. She's like, nah, probably in a couple more weeks. I'm like, nah, I think Odell's going to start getting the price to go up a little bit high now because there's a lot of teams that need Odell.
themselves.
There's a
But
lot
he
of
can do
teams
it. He
that
can
can
do it.
use an Odell Beckham. I'm like Green Bay.
I would kill to see Odell in Dallas.
Tampa would need him. Dallas can use him. Any contending team, Brady would definitely, like Brady would divorce Giselle to get Odell. Right
Here's
now.
a crazy thought. If the Giants are good, how about him winding up back with the Giants?
I thought about that also, because he.
Hold on 1 second. I want to see what this guy's saying.
I'm frustrated. I think everybody's frustrated. We just got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. Self-inflicted wounds, and you see what we can do. We drove down there fast. We can do that every time. We gotta finish. We gotta execute. And we gotta finish.
You said we can see what you guys can do. Why do you think it's just not quite coming together?
Like I said, self-inflicted wounds.
You wanted to say
How do you
Russell
rebound from a
Wilson.
game like this? That's really, obviously, we can feel the frustration.
You got to. You're forced to. This is the NFL. Everybody thinks that. I know we are professionals, but that's how games gonna be sometimes. Most of the time in the NFL, that's how games gonna be. So, we just gotta execute better. As an offense, defense, fighting their ass off. So we just gotta back them up and. But overall, I think it was a great play call. Great play call. But it's
Wow.
always things we can do different.
He said great
They
play
blame it on
call.
Russell. They're blaming it on Russell, and that's what it is. I think they think he's shot. I think
Wow. He said great play call.
right, and he said, "Look what he said." Look
I
at the
know.
question
I
she
heard
asked him.
it.
Look at the question she asked him. He took a long time and paused and said, "It's self-inflicting wounds," which is basically his way of saying, "Yeah, the quarterback is fucking up."
Wow.
And they're frustrated with him right now.
Hold
They
on.
are frustrated. with him.
Hamler clearly was frustrated after that play, slammed his
Frustrated.
helmet
Is the
down
word
on the
it is.
ground.
That was Hamler.
He
He
was
was
asked
so
at
wide
length,
open on
that
like,
Hamler
did
there.
you think the ball was coming your way?
He was
Absolutely,
so
he thought the
open.
ball was coming his way. The ball didn't go his way, but he figured that the ball should have gone to him because he would have scored on that particular play. But once again, this is something that the Broncos are going to have to
stand
try
by.
to find and work themselves through. And obviously, you look at KJ Hamler, made the game-winning.
It's the Cash In, Sports Map Radio and the Sports Map Radio app. I'm watching the Broncos postgame during the break. KJ Hamler was just being interviewed, and the reporter basically said, what do you guys got to do to fix it and turn it around? And he said, stop shooting ourselves in the foot. And then he said something that, look, I don't even think it's a subtle shot at Russell Wilson. He said, loved the call on the last play, meaning the interception. He loved the play call on the last play. Obviously, what he was upset about was the way it resulted, and there's no question. I mean, that's not even a veiled shot. That is wide open, taking a shot at your quarterback, Russell Wilson, when you come on and say, I loved the play call. Just basically saying we didn't execute. So, I mean, this is, wow. It's going to be a long 10 days, 9 days for the Denver Broncos, 10 days before they play the Chargers. And here's the good news. Again, I'm trying to find the positives. You got 10 days to try and figure it out. But now here's the big thing too. If you figure out that the problem is Russell Wilson, what do? Do you just suddenly become a conservative, run the football sort of team? Take the ball out of the hands of your $250 million quarterback? You can't do that. And stop with the people who are suggesting, replace Russell Wilson. They're not replacing Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is going to be the starting quarterback of this team. And whether they rise or whether they fall, Russell Wilson's going to be the starting quarterback. So forget that aspect of it. But I was saying this at the end of the last segment, and you guys can weigh in on this. 800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. You hit us up on Twitter at the back page. Can I make a crazy suggestion? If you can't fire Russell Wilson.
You can't.
You can't fire Russell Wilson. We all know that. He's making $250 million. Just cashing checks. Do you fire the coach now?
Nah.
I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, let him ride it out for the year. Go 7-10, and then you fire him, and then you bring Sean Payton in.
But you don't even know how many more years Russell's going to be a viable quarterback.
You got to figure, man.
I mean, it's like I said, there are no. And here's what I'm getting at as I do this sort of exercise out loud on the radio. There's no good answers for them right now. There really aren't any good answers. If you're not firing the head coach, you've tried, a situation in week 1 where you said, we'll let our kicker win it. That didn't work. You tried this week in 2 tight spots late in the game to put the ball in your $250 million quarterback's hands. He threw an interception on one. He missed an open receiver on the other and threw an incomplete pass, which loses the game. Could have used his legs on that play. You'd like to see him potentially do that. Whatever. He had tons of time to throw the football, by the way, on that play, which we haven't mentioned. He had all day to throw the football on that last pass. So what do you do? How do you? I just don't know. I don't have any good answers. Most times we could sit here and try and figure things out. And sometimes there's a backup quarterback that's an option or something like that. There's no good options here for the Broncos. They're stuck with Russell. And if you're saying they're not going to fire Hackett after 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, there's no good answers. And I got to be honest. Now, Richard Sherman in the post game for Prime Video said they should have run the football on that 4th and 1. And he might very well be right. And he was having like a PTSD moment because of obviously what happened with the Seahawks when Russell Wilson was the quarterback and they didn't run it and they threw it, interception. It was just a PTSD moment. And wasn't Stephon Gilmore the one who made that play, if I'm not mistaken? The interception, right?
It was Malcolm Butler.
No, that's right, Malcolm Butler. But, so he was having this PTSD sort of moment, and he's saying, why are you not running the football in that spot on 4th and 1? You've already proven you could run it down their throats all day. You don't run it on 4th and 1? So he was blaming the play calling in that spot. I don't have a problem with them passing it there and putting it in Wilson's hands, because if I'm going to say you should have put it in his hands, 4th down in week 1 against the Seahawks, I'd be a hypocrite if I said you shouldn't have put it. You should have put it in his hands here. The only difference is they were running the football really well on that last drive, so you can make the argument that in that moment the right play was to hand it off.
But they were throwing the ball as well, Jason. They were throwing the ball very well. The first play was it a screen to Gordon?
Yeah,
and then they caught Judy on a big play as well. They were driving. It was a really good game-winning drive.
Problem is the field shrinks so much down there. For throwing the football, I'm just saying.
Legs.
I get it.
He can
I'll
throw
disagree.
the ball on the run. And people have been saying that.
I want to get him outside the pocket and let him use his legs on that play, and all he did was drop straight back and stand there.
Touchdown. You just need 1 yard to continue to drive.
Yes.
That was my problem. And if you're gonna, here's what happened. I think they thought they were gonna get in 3rd down, and then we came to 4th down. And I don't think Hackett was like, oh, wow, should I go for it or should I kick the field goal and then hope my defense could stop them? And then we have a chance to win it with another field goal at the end.
I'll tell you.
Go for it.
Yeah.
He was caught. It looked like he was caught because there was a lot of timeouts. It looked like the Broncos went to the line to snap try to get them off sides. And then there was timeouts being called. Then they called a timeout. It seemed like a lot of confusion going on.
Yeah, there was a lot of cat and mouse. You bring up a good point. There was also a lot of cat and mouse after that 3rd down play, and they ran up to the line. And quite honestly, in that spot, if they were going to go for it on 4th, the defense is kind of gassed. It's late in the game. I'm kind of surprised they didn't just go for it right there. I mean, it was very strange. They call a timeout, or Indy called a timeout, then Denver called a timeout. That was the sequence in which it happened. On 4th and 1, originally Indy calls the timeout, and then Denver called the timeout the second time around after they saw the defense that Indy put out on the field. And at the end of the day, Indy made the play when they needed to. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. On Twitter, at the back page. What's the answer when it comes to the Denver Broncos after this game? What do you do if you're this organization? Now that you're 2-3. Again, 2-3 is not the end of the world. I'll tell you now, though, if they're 2-4, as Vlad pointed out, we're not at the third way, the third of the season. We will be after next week. After week 6. If you're talking about a team then that's 2-4, I hate to say this again as I take deep breaths. 2-3 doesn't make me panic. 2-4 would. 2-4, I think you're in a world of trouble. But and who knows? They get the Rams or the Chargers in week 6. Maybe they can figure out a way to win that game, but nothing I've seen through the first 5 games for this team tells me they're going to win in week 6 against the Chargers. On the road, no less. We'll come back and analyze it some more. More post-game as well on the Cash In Sports Map Radio.
I'm going to try to get a gambler for tomorrow. Talk about the weekend's games. Especially somebody could talk also the baseball as well. And then probably get fantasy. Well, depending on what happens. Or, you know what? I might get somebody from the game who covered one of the afternoon games.
I'm just looking at something. Hold on.
Excuse me. Hold on.
You all right?
I don't know, but maybe they don't have much to be celebrating. But shoot, if you catch a ball, get up and show me a little something. Give me a first down, you know what I mean? And I'm just not seeing that excitement right now.
You just want a chippy game. That's what you want.
Well, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Someone has to give you a little spark, right? And once you see that spark, you see your brother out there fighting for extra yards. He's getting up hype. You're like, all right, let's go. Now it's time to rock. And I'm just not seeing that on the offensive side of guys just excited to be out there and excited to get their other teammates pumped up.
Yeah, I mean, even when Cortland Sutton and Montrell Washington had that big play, you thought maybe this was going to be the spark. You thought maybe, okay, we're going to keep this thing going. And then the drive just fizzles out.
Yeah.
So,
and that's probably play calling, honestly. It probably is more on the coaches. Yeah, you got us down there. Now what's the package? Now what do you have for this red zone where, like what you said, we don't have that many plays to run?
Well, with the Broncos struggling to find their offensive firepower, right? They're not really using tight ends as much as they should. I wonder where's Montrell Washington? He's a perfect guy to provide a spark. We know what he can do as far as on punt return. Do some jet sweeps, throw a tunnel screen to anything to put the ball in his hands to get him in open space against one-on-one matchups with defenders. Do something. It's got to be better than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, just maybe a different change of pace. A guy
yes, something.
At speed.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Same thing with Hamler, too.
Yeah, exactly. Hamler's the same kind of guy who got that speed. You can change it up a little bit.
That's why Hamler's frustrated.
Maybe he wants a few more balls coming his way. Hey, while we're waiting for Russell Wilson to head to the podium, I believe that Melvin Gordon was inside the locker room. Obviously, so much talk about this week, with his fumbles, and he went out there, had a decent game, as we talked about earlier here. Melvin Gordon, 15 carries for 54 yards, provided some stability there a little bit that we weren't quite sure, okay, who was going to start, what was going to happen. Melvin Gordon was a starter tonight when they announced his name. Some cheers in the stadium a little bit, some support for Melvin Gordon. So let's hear what he had to say inside the Broncos locker room.
We got to stop making mistakes and just we got to be sharp on the details. We are way better football team offensively than we've shown the past few weeks. And that's probably what's disappointing more than anything.
Well, if you took the under tonight, you were the easy winner. I mean, talk about a no-sweat bet. And it went to overtime, and it was still a no-sweat bet. Most times, overtime is the enemy of the under. It wasn't tonight.
Has any game on Thursday night gone over?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I think it's been under every week so far.
Yeah, I'd have to go look. I mean, I'll take your word for it, but I haven't looked. We're still waiting for Russell Wilson to hit the podium. As soon as he does, if it happens before we get off the air here, 20 minutes from now, we will go to it live because I think I got to hear what Russell Wilson has to say after a performance like this. By the way, Matt Ryan was sacked 6 times tonight, Russell Wilson 4 times. Protect your quarterbacks. But you know what? When it mattered most, you know, on the 2 key plays in this game, you can't blame the protection. Russell Wilson had all kinds of time on both of those plays. Just made bad throws.
It was bad throws. It looked, he looked shot. That's what it looked like. He looked shot. He looked like he wasn't quick with the decision, and he couldn't get the ball. The first interception, the one that Gilmore had with less than 2 minutes left in the game. And that was a 3rd down play. You didn't have to throw the ball. You could have ran the ball if you got the first down, you're milking the clock. It's bad. 85% Russ, 15% Nathaniel Hackett. I'm sorry.
Tonight, yes, I would agree with that. But again, you know, you look at the game as a whole and you try and, yeah, you'd have to go through and watch every play to kind of get a sense for what the play calling was like the entire game. And it's going to be an interesting week. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You can tweet at the show if you want to at the back page. Again, hit me up on Twitter at the back page. Again, I mean, yeah, if you look around the league right now, through 4 weeks and 1 game, and again, we're keeping our eye out to see if Russell Wilson hits the podium here. If you go through the entire league, and you sort of try to assess where's the spot that if you could be a head coach, no matter what they offered you, you wouldn't want it. I'm just looking around the league right now. Now, Houston, you knew they were going to be bad. The Raiders at 1-3 are a bit of a mess. Obviously, they got to win this week. I don't know if there's a worse position to be in right now on a day in, day out basis, to wake up, have to face the media, answer questions, you know, week in and week out about why your team's offense has only scored 75 points. Oh, here's Russell Wilson at the podium right now.
Answer all their questions and everything else. Just a bad play, you know, just and then tried to make the tackle, try to end up hitting the guy.
And then how do you explain that, you know, this performance tonight was below your standards, below the expectations?
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. I think at the end of the day, I got to be better. I got to play better. This team, you know, this defense played their butts off tonight. We had some key good drives. We moved the ball, you know, in the red zone. We just didn't get to capitalize on some of them, you know. And there's some plays there, here and there, that we can capitalize on. You know, we were 3rd and long again, too much. You know, that's always tough on offense. You know, and everything else when you're 3rd and 15, 3rd and 17, this and that. And at the end of the day, you know, throwing 2 interceptions can't happen. You know, I let the team down tonight. And but the good thing is, one thing I know about myself is I'm going to respond. I don't know any other way. You know, I always believe in myself, always believe in this team, believe in what we can do, believe in what I can do. You know, and when you play this game, the one thing that you're going to know is you're going to go through adversity. And adversity, you have a choice, you know, and I'm always going to choose and understand that adversity is just temporary. You're going to overcome obstacles and battles. We're all working together. We're all you know, still together, focused on trying to do whatever it takes. And it starts with me. I'll make sure that I do that.
Russell Wilson meeting with the media right now in Denver. You're listening to it here on the Cash In Sports Map Radio and the Sports Map Radio app after a 12-9 overtime loss to the Colts.
Russ, to your right, just kind of going back to the last play of the game.
Yep.
Is there any consideration on your part to get the first down and then go for the win?
Yeah, I mean, we we had a good play call on. He went to Cortland there. Guy made a good play. We were ready. I was ready to move around if I needed to. We came up with a big 4th and 2 earlier in the drive before, the 2 drives before. So we went for it. We didn't want to end in a tie. We wanted to try to win the game. And that was our mentality. I think Coach made a good call. I think we got to find a way to make a play, whatever it takes. And the thing about close games and this and that is it comes down to finding a way. And we found a way before, and this time we didn't. We had a really good drive in overtime. They went down and kicked the field goal, whatever. We got the ball. We drove all the way down quickly. That's how I think our offense should look. Quite often, we were able to make plays and do our thing. Guys did a good job blocking up that last drive, and they made a good play.
Russell, on the interception just before the 2-minute warning, can you just take us through? Hackett said he thought maybe you started to the other side and then came back to Tyree. Just take us through what you saw on that play that ended in the pick.
Yeah, there was a guy on the left, and then we were running across the field. And you just can't throw that. You got to throw it out of bounds if it's not there. He was cutting across the field, and we were a little bit off on that, and ended up in a negative play.
Russ, you said on that final drive that's how it's supposed to look. Why do you think it isn't looking like that right now?
Well, I think we've had some good drives. I think, the first drive of the game, I believe it was, we moved the ball well, we were efficient. We had one negative, I think, run or something, and then it was 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and then we threw it in the back of the end zone, almost caught it. Jerry almost made a great catch. That could have been a touchdown. But I think that, for us, it's having these, negative plays and the backward plays or the interceptions, or anything negative, and I think that's on us. That's on us as players. Like I said, it starts with me, and it's not on Coach Hackett. It's not on anybody else. He's called some really good plays. We got to make the plays. I got to be able to hit it, and we got to be able to get that first down, this and that, whatever it is. And it's disappointing tonight. Obviously, we felt like we should have won that game, I felt like I let us down tonight. Obviously, but like I said, in this locker room, we believe what we can do. There's a lot of season left. There's a lot of opportunity left. There's a lot of belief, how great the defense is doing. If we can turn around on offense, how quickly we can turn around on offense. That's the key. We just got to keep battling and keep believing.
There you go. Russell Wilson post game. You heard him talking about the interception just before the 2-minute warning there, and really no explanation. Just bad throw. Should have thrown it out of the end zone. Yeah, I mean, there's, and that's honestly, you can dissect this game and go through it any way you want. They don't throw an interception there, they probably win the game. Because at worst case, they're getting a field goal, and I didn't have a lot of confidence that the Colts were going to be able to drive down the field when they couldn't score a touchdown the whole game and get a touchdown there. I mean, that's the play that ultimately is the backbreaker. If you're the Broncos in this game. Russell Wilson was 21 of 39 for 274 yards and 2 interceptions in the 12-9 loss. By the way, neither quarterback with a touchdown, both threw 2 interceptions. I mean, these are 2 high-caliber quarterbacks we're talking about, and neither played well tonight. Wow.
Play like trash, man. Basura. It's nasty work. 7 field goals, like over combined 20 punts. Nasty work.
Yeah, I wanted to see the penalties too, and I haven't been able to find it. I'm curious how many penalties Denver had for the game, because that was a big part of what happened in this game as well. Just too many penalties. Like they were saying, you set yourself back. You get these 3rd and longs, these 2nd and longs, 3rd and longs. It's hard to sustain a drive. What do you got?
7 penalties for 49 yards.
It's not that bad.
Indy had 8 penalties for 64 yards. Indy had a time of possession of 34 minutes and 36 seconds. Denver had 32 minutes, 51. So, even. It was pretty much even.
Yeah.
Pretty much even. 375 total yards from Denver, 306 total yards by Indy. The third down efficiency was nasty. 4 for 16 for Indy. 2 out of 15
Nobody could convert.
It was horrible, man. It was
Third
just,
down. The Colts were 4 of 16, and Denver was 2 of 15.
2 of
Oy
15,
vey.
right.
Yeah, that's bad. That was a hard game to watch, but even in a night where it was a hard game to watch, you certainly come away with a lot of storylines. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. Again, on Twitter, at the back page. You just heard from Russell Wilson in the post game after a Broncos 12-9 loss. He's still up there at the podium, but look, you're getting a lot of the same sort of rhetoric that you would expect after a game like this one.
I told you exactly what he was going to say. I told you exactly what he was going to say.
He's trying to look, but he's got to be positive in this situation. What's he going to say?
No, he's got to be positive. And
he took the blame.
And I see that's a good thing. Hackett has not lost the locker room. I see that the guys are taking more of the onus. They're trying to keep the blame away from him. They said it was their fault. It wasn't the play calling. They liked the play call. They didn't execute. And some of that is true. But you could tell in certain situations, in key moments, he's a little bit way over his head.
Say it all the time. Players win, coaches lose. There's no way you can get rid of there's no way you can get rid of all these players. And if ultimately, you could say players are underperforming, Russell Wilson's underperforming, but if at the end of the day the Denver Broncos don't get it together and this thing goes the way of a 7-10 season, there's no way Nathaniel Hackett will be back as the head coach next year. The bidding war for Sean Payton will begin in earnest. But who knows? Maybe the only bidder out there will be Denver, because if the Dallas Cowboys do what I'm starting to feel like they're going to do.
What, get to the playoffs and still lose?
I think they got a shot to go deep. I really do.
Go deep.
I got to tell you,
season.
I have never been a Cowboys guy. But I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Okay, I see that. All right, drink that Kool-Aid. I see that we're on the freak, and now you're freakish about Dallas. I see that.
No, I just listen. I'm you know me. We used to be on in Boston, and I used to pound on the Patriots every night. I've never been a Cowboys fan, but I see something special in this team when you talk about the adversity they faced after week 1.
Oh, come on.
And responding the way that team has. Look, you see it all the time in this league. How do teams respond to adversity? And look, you could think what you want about the Cowboys and think I'm crazy for thinking they're going to go deep. That's fine. There's one thing that's indisputable. The way they have responded in the 3 games after Dak Prescott got hurt. There's no disputing that.
For the first 4 games of the season, their defense has probably been one of the top 2 defenses in the league.
Yeah, top 3. Absolutely. But again, you've had a quarterback go out there and not make mistakes. You can win with that kind of defense if you have a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes.
But you also won't be able to win if your quarterback can't make the throws. There's certain throws your quarterback has to make.
I agree.
I personally think Dak can make certain throws Cooper cannot make.
And that's why Dak will wind up being the starter. We'll come back and finish this up. We got to wrap up the show. We'll do that when we continue on the Cash In. I'm Jason Page at Sports Map Radio. No, what did Matt Flynn tweet?
What did he tweet?
Matt Flynn tweeted, I could have done that. Oh, that's great.
You know what? Friend of mine, same guy. I always call you him all the time because his name is Jerry. We said the 30 for 30 of the Legion of Boom will probably be one of the best 30 for 30s if they ever do it, because I need to know what happened.
Yeah.
What's the beef? Why did Percy Harvin want to punch Golden Tate? Why did why were they sleeping with Russell Wilson's girlfriend? What was going on there? Like, there was a lot of drama going on.
It's true.
And why did everything break up after that interception? It was as if, and I want to know if Pete regrets. Does Pete think choosing Russ over the Legion of Boom is Does he regret doing that? Yeah. All right. What I gotta do tomorrow? All right. I'm buying a ticket, watching baseball. Maybe I'll get somebody from Toronto.
We used to have a guy we got from Toronto. You remember?
Yeah, Mike Wilner.
What was his name?
Mike Wilner.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'll get Wilner. Maybe I'll ask Jen to come on. I wonder what Dave Sims gonna do, because they're not doing TV. This is national broadcast.
Probably he's probably just doing like post game shows on TV.
So you think they don't fly out with them?
No. Come back. Hey, if you haven't done so already, go download the Jock MKT app. Basically, instead of the stock market, it's the Jock market. You go and put bids in on players. They do well. You make money. Simple as that. It is Jock Market. Jock MKT. Go now, download the app. It's free to download. And we have a special promo code just for cash-in listeners. Go right now, download $20 or more, use the promo code CASH-IN, and you get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. It's the Jock MKT app. Go and download the app right now. Learn all about it. It's fantasy, but it's so much better. You can just go and get the players you want, see how they do. And if they do well, you make money. It's like the stock market, only better. With athletes instead of stocks. And you know athletes way better than you know stocks. So it's worth it. Jock MKT. Go and download the app. Promo code CASH-IN on your first deposit. You get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Go and do it now here on the Cash-In. 1-800-224-2004 as we get set to wrap things up. We'll see what happens in the playoff base. I am going to be spending all day tethered to the TV watching playoff baseball. Vlad and I will be texting each other throughout the day. You will text with me throughout the day, right? Quick yes or no. We'll do.
Maybe.
Okay. He says maybe. Good job producing it tonight, engineering it tonight. Brian McDonald back in Houston. We're all out of time. We're out of time. We'll see you all tomorrow. Lots of playoff baseball to talk about. I'm Jason Page. Cash in Sports Map Radio. Bye.
By God, King.
Brian, you know what to do for the podcast. Are you on tomorrow? Okay. Have a great night. Thank you. Appreciate your help. All right.
Yeah, just try to get some odds maker.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see tomorrow what's going on. I'm going to see if I could still get Haynes. I mean, problem is this Warrior story was kind of squashed today.
They got squashed really quick.
Well, I mean, because they're whatever they do, they're going to do it internally. But there is a lot.
NBA.
Yeah, but there's a lot of NBA stuff to talk about. This Victor Wembanyama kid or whoever.
Wembanyama, the 7'3".
Yeah,
all the
and
guys
Scoot.
saying it's going to change the game.
Him and Scoot are basically going to be 1-2. So the Oklahoma. So the NBA's worst nightmare is this kid winds up in Oklahoma City. Basically, I mean that's the NBA's worst nightmare.
So you're gonna have two. Yeah, you're gonna have 2 7-6 guys. That's gonna be in Oklahoma City.
I mean, it's not just that. It's a shit market for him to be in. You don't want him there. And the reality is that's where he's going to wind up. He's going to wind up in a crappy market. Go look at who are the bad teams going to be this year.
I don't know. We got
Houston again. Houston will suck again.
Well, if he goes to Houston, that'll be great. Houston's a big market.
It's a big market, but San Antonio's going to suck.
Yeah, well, you know what? Last time they had a quiet light-skinned tall player. They won 5 titles.
Should be interesting. All right, let's catch up tomorrow, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Yeah, let me know about Dallas, and I'm just gonna. Yeah, I'm buying the ticket. I gotta figure it out.
Yeah, trust me, dude. I feel you. I feel you financially right now. I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Later.
All right, bye.